building a responsive website with HTML, CSS, Flexbox, CSS Grid, animation, transition, and transform. My name is Quadri Elebi. I am an instructor for this course. In this course, I will teach you step by step from scratch how to build a real-world responsive website. I will start by introducing you to web development. I will teach you how to download, install, and navigate VS Code interface, install HTML CSS extensions, create files and folder. I will teach you HTML documents, HTML tags, links, images, lists, tables, HTML form, media, button, comments, and HTML semantic elements. Then I will teach you the CSS syntax, CSS selectors, pseudo classes, units, styling, CSS box model, padding, border and margin, CSS layout, positioning, display, CSS animation, transform and transition. Also CSS Flexbox, CSS Grid, and CSS responsive design, media query. Also, we would work on 3 first-hand real-world projects to build a responsive website: a travel agent website, photo gallery website, and a website for an architectural brand. Also, I have provided practical exercises which you will find at the end of the practical sections of this course and also in the course workbook for you to practice and follow along. I have also provided all the diagrams I used in this course in the resource file. By taking my course, you will gain hands-on experience and confidence to create professional modern web designs. I will see you in the next lecture video. Okay guys, this is just a reminder for you to download the resource file from the lecture after this lecture, which is lecture 3. Yes, you would see the link. From the link, click on the link. So download the resource file, which is the zip file. So downloading the resource file, you extract it and you have this particular folder. Okay, so in the folder you actually have different files, okay, which are very, very useful for you in this course for you to be able to follow along. So when you click here, you can see all the diagrams I used in this course. You have them here for you to be able to follow along. You see, from the explanation of web development down, okay, to HTML, and CSS going down, syntax, okay, the CSS box model, okay, Flexbox CSS Grid, okay, perfect, till the end. Okay, so the diagrams are here for you to use. Okay, also for the images, okay, let's see. Okay, we have HTML images are using HTML, CSS, project 1, project 2, and project 3, the projects we have in this course. Okay, let's see HTML. Okay, you can see this was the audio I used, okay, the video I used, and also the images I used. Okay, so apart from that, let's come over to the project 1. Okay, we actually used a video in the background, so actually here we have the video, very clean, perfect video. You can see, very, very perfect. So we're gonna use it in that in that background. Okay, perfect. So apart from that, we also have for the project 2, okay, the images I used HD high definition, very clear images, okay, for the second project. Okay, very, very perfect. So do not forget to download them, to download the resource file. It's very, very important. It will actually help you. Okay, so apart from that, the third project we actually have this resource file. Okay, very, very perfect. Okay, so you need to download the resource file. It's very, very important. So this is just like a reminder for you to download the resource file. So we also have what? The HTML CSS properties. After I've taught you the properties and the values, okay, you can actually make use of this. Okay, it is a PDF file. Okay, and apart from that, also we have the XSX and the practical files. Although we have the project, we have project 1, project 2, project 3. That's perfect, very much enough. Okay, and also I've put exercises here also for you to be able to follow along. So everything in here is here for you to be able to follow along. So download it, then start making use of it. So I'll see you in the next lecture video. Yes, in this section I'll be explaining to you what web development is. Web development is the process of creating and maintaining websites. Yes, development. websites all over the world today are what are developed. Even the one that is being dragged and dropped, just constructing, just building them without coding. So creating and maintaining websites. Yes, we develop the websites with different tools and programming languages. Okay, HTML, CSS are not programming languages, and programming languages, like JavaScript is a programming language. We have other types of programming languages. Okay, so to build websites that people can view and interact with on the internet. Yes, because we develop a website to be on the internet. Okay, so now HTML, CSS tools, kind of tools to use, programming languages like JavaScript and the likes. Okay, so web development in a nutshell is the creation and the maintenance, like the creating and maintaining of websites. Okay, so the next one now is think of it as constructing a house. Yes, now we're talking about web development. You said creating and maintaining websites. So for us to understand perfectly well as a beginner understanding this, okay, we said think of it as creating a house. Yes, like creating a house. So what do we mean? HTML and CSS being a tool, JavaScript being a programming language. Yes, the three are called front end. Okay, because in web development we have front end, back end, and full stack. Front end, these were the physical things, things people see, they can touch, like things like that. They operate, they move to the left, right, the way they feel the internet, the way they feel the website. Okay, but the back end is something they can't see, which is controlled at the back. Okay, then we have full stack. Okay, the combination of the two. So when talking about HTML, CSS, JavaScript, it is what? Front end. So HTML and CSS are tools, like to create a website, while JavaScript is a programming language itself. So HTML, hypertext markup language. Okay, it is not a programming language, it is what? Hypertext markup language. Okay, it's like the structure or skeleton of the house. Yeah, because we are trying to understand this as, let's think of it as creating a house, constructing a house. Okay, so we said HTML itself is the beginning, is the fundamental. You need to understand HTML first because it is the building block of a website. Without HTML, you can't apply CSS, you can't apply JavaScript. It's very important. So HTML is what is the building block. So they said it's like the structure or skeleton of a house. Yes, when you have a house, when you lay the foundation, the pillars, and some things like that, that is the skeleton. That is the foundation. Without the foundation, you can't put furniture, painting, electricity, and the likes. Okay, so HTML itself is the structure, the building block of a website. So comparing it to a house now, it is the structure or skeleton of the house. It defines the layout and content of the website. Okay, it defines, it actually structures it, or it should be, the layout. This is how it should be arranged, the section, the header, okay, the navigation bar, okay, the images, the videos, the audios. This is how it should be structured. Okay, the logo, the brand name, the brand logo, the grids, top, bottom, positions. So it defines the layout and content of the website. It tells the browser what elements should be on the page, such as text, images, links, and headings. Okay, it tells the browser, give it prompts, give it commands, do it like this, so far it has been well arranged and well written and structured. Okay, in a nutshell, HTML is what is the building block of a website. It is the skeleton of the house, the foundation that defines the layout and contents of the website. So CSS, cascading style sheets, is like the paint. After you have the building block, the foundation, the pillars, you've given the structure of the window. You've not actually put the window, but you've structured the structure of the window, the structure of the doors, everything like there. Okay, now you have CSS. Okay, cascading style sheets, which is like the paints. Paint the house, make it look good. The furnitures, the frames, putting the window itself, putting the frames and decoration of the house. Okay, it determines how the website looks and feels. Okay, people with the color, okay, the style, the spacing, okay, the layouts to make the website visually appealing and user friendly. Yes, HTML actually defines the layout. Okay, but the beautification of the layout, how rich is it? How attractive is it? CSS does that perfectly well. The painting, the style, the colors, the spacing, the layout, and the likes. Okay. So HTML is like the building block, like, the skeleton of the house. Then CSS is what, the painting, the beautification after all the structures have been done. Then JavaScript, which is JS, is the electricity, appliances, and automation, which brings the house to life and makes it functional. Yeah, just for example, like functionality, when you want to enter into somewhere, automated doors, things like that, JavaScript, when you open the tab, okay, JavaScript, when you use a washing machine to wash your, to wash your clothes. So it's electricity, it's television, so far it's automatic, automated, lights, whatever. So far it brings about functionality, it functions, it's behavioral. So that's JavaScript. Okay, so the main thing we are actually focusing on in this course is what HTML and CSS. The building block, it's very important, fundamentals. And also understanding how to style, how to color, how to space, how to make things look beautiful, how to make the website look appealing to people. The UI, the user interface, perfect. Okay. So in a nutshell, actually understanding what web development is, it is creating and maintaining websites, okay, which involves using different tools like HTML, CSS, and programming languages. Don't forget, HTML, CSS is not a programming language. HTML is hypertext markup language. CSS is cascading style sheets. While JavaScript is a programming language itself. That's why JavaScript is mainly for functionality, behavioral stuffs, automation, things that works automatically, functions, things that function perfectly well. So that is about web development, HTML, CSS, JavaScript in a nutshell. So I'll see you in the next section, where we start with the basic fundamentals in HTML, things you need to get set to begin the journey. I'll see you in the next lecture video. In this lecture video, I'm going to teach you how to download and install text editor, VS Code. Some people call it code editor, when you into Python, PHP, and some other things. But we call it text editor. Okay, now, and there are different types. Okay, you can actually use Notepad, Sublime Text, but one of the most popular, which is Visual Studio Code, VS Code. Okay, it's very popular, and apart from that, very useful and helps a beginner to understand perfectly well, and also even a professional. So people use it for different types of languages, even Python, PHP, probably any language you would actually want to think of. Okay, so you can actually come here, or you come over here, either of the two. Okay, so you say Visual Studio Code, and so just pick the first one, Visual Studio, because it is owned by Microsoft. Okay, so you have come over here and download for Windows. But if you are using a Mac, just come over here to other platforms. Okay, so we have Windows, we have Mac, okay, and some other ones there. So for Mac, you actually click this, select here. For Windows, you select this. So when you just click, and it actually pops. You can see it actually shows here. You can see VS Code. It's downloading VS Code for me right now. Thanks for downloading it, and perfectly well. Just move to where it has been downloaded, or you just come over here. Oh, sorry. Just click on the folder here. So here we have it actually. So the icon is very big, so sorry. Then double click. When you double click, it's going to show you run. So when you run, actually, I have VS Code on my system already, so that's not a problem. So when you run, just say I accept the agreements. Okay. Then read through if you feel like. Then next. Then you can actually create a desktop icon if you want. Yes. Then next. Okay. Then install. So now install. Then it installs, and let's see what happens actually. It's installing. You can see finish. Very perfect. So now it opens. You see, very perfect. So this is exactly what you would actually see when it is being installed, when it is finished and you open. Actually, mine opened automatically. I'm sure yours would actually do that. But if it doesn't, just go to the desktop, double click on it, the icon there, because we actually initiated it to be created on the desktop page. The icon should be there. So it opens automatically. Then we have it like this. So in the next lecture video, I'm going to teach you how to navigate through the most important things you need to know for the HTML and CSS in this course. So we're going to navigate the VS Code interface. So I'll see you in the next lecture video. So in this lecture video, we are going to navigate the most important things we need to know in the VS Code interface, which would actually enhance and make us understand perfectly well more about HTML and CSS. So now the first thing, it looks like this perfectly well. To create a new file, I'm going to teach you how to create a new file and folder, relating them together for use in HTML and CSS in order to make it work perfectly well. So now we have the menu bar here. Okay, we have the properties bar. Okay, so this is the welcome window. We can just cancel it. We have no problem. Okay, so now, so we have files, we have edit, we have selection, view, go, run. We are not running anything in the terminal. We are not running anything in the terminal here because we are not actually using Python or some other programming language or this view and the likes. So the main thing actually we're going to be focusing is just like, undo. When you make a mistake, you undo, redo. That's Ctrl-Z, Ctrl-Y. You cut, you copy, you paste, things like that. So now we have file, we have new file, open file, folder. So now coming over here, we have the properties, like explore. We're going to be using this property very well. We have search, we have source control, we have run and debug. Okay. Then we have extensions, then we have Python. We're not using that. Okay. So we have extensions. Okay. This is where actually when we want to search for different extensions to be useful for us in performing perfectly well, effectively and efficiently using HTML and CSS, we have them here. Perfect lot. So we're gonna learn that in the next section video, talking about extensions in HTML CSS. Okay. So that is the main thing we just have to know. This is how to navigate. This is the interface itself. This is like the workspace where we're going to work, things like that. So in the next lecture video, we're going to talk about extension. Then from there, we move towards file and folders. Then from there, we start to use the language and the start to use the language HTML. So majorly, this is the menu bar, the properties bar, this is the interface, this is exactly the workspace. So that is the most important thing we need to know concerning this. So I'll see you in the next lecture video. So now we want to download a browser. You just download and install, because apart from the VS Code, which we use in like coding, writing, the language and the likes, here, this is not Python, this is CSS and JavaScript. We need a browser, okay, like Google Chrome, like Microsoft Edge, and 99.9% sure when you have a laptop, a browser comes with it. So we don't have any problem. But even in case you don't have that, so that is it because it's actually a browser you would use to download and install a browser. So you can actually just, for example, let's say download Microsoft Edge. Just as an example, I have Microsoft Edge also. So I have Microsoft, so download Microsoft Edge. This as an example. It's very simple. Just go to Google, download whatever, download Microsoft Edge, download Google Chrome. You can see I have it downloaded already. So that's why it's telling me open Microsoft Edge. So you can see continue to download Microsoft Edge. Okay. Then I can say accept. Then you can say download for Windows 10 or Windows 11. You can see download. Then you can read this if you want. Okay, accept and download. Thank you. Your download will be shortly. You can see it's downloaded already. So just go install it. Then now it's very, very simple, and I'm very sure you have it on your system already, either Chrome, Google Chrome, or Microsoft Edge. So I will see you in the next lecture video where we start with HTML, hypertext markup language. I'll see you in the next lecture video. So in this lecture video, we are going to be installing the extensions.
the HTML CSS extension, because different type of languages, different type of programming languages in the world have their different type of extension. Python has its own extension, and other programming languages, HTML has, CSS has, and the like. So just come over, you can see extension, select on this. Then the first extension you would actually need is what? Just for HTML space CSS space IntelliSense. Okay, IntelliSense, IntelliSense, IntelliSense. Okay, so you will see you were searching actually bring different options for you. So when the first one, this is the first, you can see CSS IntelliSense. Okay, you can see HTML CSS support. Okay, CSS IntelliSense for HTML, perfectly well, that's not a problem. We have this also IntelliSense, IntelliSense for CSS class names in HTML and the likes. So just select on this. I've installed it before, so that is the reason why I can say we have uninstall. I can try to uninstall, then install back again. I don't have any problem. It's installing already and it's installed. You can see installed. Yes. So disable. I don't need to disable. So HTML CSS support. Now we need to understand something. What is an extension? Extension, or let me say an extension, is a plugin. Okay, it is a plugin that has been created, okay, to help in enhancing the HTML and CSS functionality. Not only HTML and CSS, whatever extension it is for any programming language or for any language or for anything. Okay, it helps to enhance the functionality. It brings about efficiency, effectiveness. Whenever you type something, you're gonna see everything here, don't worry. Whenever you type something, it helps you to complete the code because it knows what you're actually dealing with. It knows the file, is it HTML, is it CSS, is it Python, is it PHP, or whatever programming language you're working with. Okay, so extension, when you say extend, to extend something, the functionality, the effectiveness, the efficiency. Okay, so now when you're talking about extensions, different type of extensions, they help to enhance the functionality of whatever you want to use it for. So the HTML and CSS extension helps to enhance the functionality of HTML and CSS. When you type a code, let's say for example, you see, look at the features. Okay, you can see HTML ID and class attributes completion. It helps you to complete different tags. Okay, it helps you to complete different things you write. It understands what you're trying to say. You see, supports completion from in-file defined styles. Okay, that's CSS. It supports specifying remote and local style sheets. Okay, supports any language for completion. Yes, any language, not only CSS and HTML. We're gonna understand that when we start to use the language HTML CSS. Okay, supports go to definition for selectors. Okay, that is when you talk about selectors, talking about CSS. Okay, validates class attributes on demand. You see, this extension understands what you're trying to do. Okay, it understands perfectly well. So now this is installed already. You're going to see the functionality when we start using this language. So apart from that, apart from the intelligence, okay, just you come over here, something called live server. You can see it actually here, live server. Just select on this. It is installed already. I can uninstall, then what's installed back, that's not a problem. Okay, so now the reason for a live server is that when we get to the practical aspect, you're going to understand perfectly well. But the reason is that whenever you write the HTML language or CSS language, whenever you move to the browser itself, the browser on your system, either Chrome or the Microsoft Edge, Microsoft Edge by Microsoft. So it's actually, whenever you refresh, it actually changes. So far you've made an adjustment to it in the language, in CSS, HTML, or even JavaScript. Okay, so when you Ctrl+S, when you save immediately in VS Code, it changes immediately where? In the browser. Okay, it's very, very perfect. It changes in the browser automatically without you even refreshing. Okay, it understands perfectly well. So that is one of the essence of the live saver. It's very, very perfect. Okay, very, very. So those are the two main extensions we need to know for now. We need to download and understand to use perfectly well in HTML and CSS. So I'll see you in the next lecture video where we'll be talking about creating file and folder for your HTML and CSS. I'll see you in the next lecture video. In this lecture video, I'll be teaching you how to create an HTML and CSS folder and file. Very simple. Just come over here. Come over to Explorer. Okay. Then you see open folder. It's very, very simple. Select. So when you select, you can actually open the folder anywhere in your documents, anywhere, pictures, desktop, documents, download. So I prefer desktop. Okay, desktop. So yeah, the desktop. Then come over here. Just right click here. Just right click. Then new. Then what you say? Folder. Then you create a new folder. That's HTML CSS space CSS. Then so we have this here, and the name is here already. So folder. Select folder. Then you're good to go. Perfect. So we have it here. HTML. You can see it's here already. Also HTML CSS. You don't need to press just HTML CSS. You can see it here. Look at this. It is actually expanded. When you say expanded, look at the arrow here. Select. You can see that's collapsed, expanded, collapsed. Now the thing you can do is just select here. You can actually unselect the timeline, uncheck the timeline, sorry, then uncheck outline. So everything you have here only is what? HTML CSS folder. Okay, but I prefer most of the time, I prefer actually having my outline checked. Okay, it makes me to see, okay, whatever it's here. Okay, so now we have to, even you can actually click, come over here, you can see this arrow has changed, then click and drag. It's all gone. So you can come back again and say what? Explorer, then it gives you, then you can actually what? Collapse, expand, collapse. So if you want to see the HTML CSS again, just come over to File, then what? Close folder, and it's all gone. So you have to come back again. Okay, create a new folder. You can see open folder. Then you see come to desktop. You see we have this folder there already in desktop HTML. So just select on it. Then what? Select folder. It comes back into this place. The most important thing you need to know, just come over to your desktop here. You can see HTML CSS. Very, very perfect. It has been created, but we created it from what? From inside VS Code. What you can do again, just right click, come over to new folder, just say enter, new folder, this new folder. Then you come over to what? Come back to the VS Code. So then say what? Then say open folder. Select here, open folder. Now we are in desktop. Just come over to desktop. Then new folder. The folder I just created outside of VS Code, which is on the desktop. There is a select folder. Then the folder actually comes here too. We have new folder. You can see new folder. Okay, new folder. Perfect. So, but we don't want this actually. Just press on File. Okay, close folder. We don't want it. Tada, bye bye. Okay, so just select on this. Open folder. Which folder do you want to open? Come to desktop, HTML CSS, then select folder, HTML CSS folder. Very, very perfect. Okay. So I just select HTML CSS. So now what is the next thing to do? So we have, you can see, bring your cursor here. We have new file, new folder. You can create a new folder inside the HTML CSS folder. You can refresh and you can actually collapse folder in Explorer. So, but what we need, we don't need to create a new folder. We just need to create a new file. So just select here, new file. So what our file do we need? We need the HTML file and the CSS file. But for now, we're only going to create the HTML file. And it's very simple. Just press HTML dot. It's very simple. Dot. Okay. Then I want to give it a small letter here because I don't like the extension, like being in a capital letter. Dot HTML. You can see very, very perfect. Let me erase the L, the M. Look at this place. Look at this file icon here. When I did HTML, you see immediately it changed to what? It changed to a what? An opening and a closing tag. You can see. So it tells me that, oh, VS Code knows what you're trying to say. Just press on enter. Then we have that. So let me try to create another file and let's see. Let's say www. No, I'm sorry. Let's say file dot CSS. You can see it changes. It gives the CSS. It knows exactly what CSS icon looks like. This is exactly it. So we have .js also .js JavaScript. Okay, perfectly well. So that is actually the way it understands. So if it actually understands, you don't have any problem. Okay, so now we've created the HTML file. Then we start creating the language in the file, and it's actually have effect being stored in the file, then being stored in the folder. Like, we come outside here and let's see the HTML CSS folder. You would see we have HTML inside HTML being a file in the HTML CSS folder. You can see, very, very perfect. So that is it on how to create HTML folder and file. So we're going to create the file for CSS in the CSS section. So I'll see you in the next lecture video. Yes, in this section, I will be putting you through exactly what HTML is. Yes, we begin. Yeah, HTML is not a programming language. Yes, we know that before. This is just to buttress the point. It is not a programming language. It is an hypertext markup language. It is a language, but not a programming language. So it is a markup language. It means it uses special tags. Yes, we are going to learn about tags. We're going to learn about tags, very important. Elements. When you're talking about HTML elements, we have what we call the opening tag, the contents, and the closing tag. Okay? So the tags are very special and very important. They're actually the main elements in an HTML document. Okay? The opening tag, the contents, and the closing. We're going to know more about that in the next lecture after this lecture. Okay, we use them to define different parts of a web page, like headings, paragraphs, images, and links. Okay, we're going to start gradually. So HTML defines what content will appear on a page. It gives commands, it controls the web page. Whatever is meant to be displayed on the website is instructed by HTML. That is why you need to understand it perfectly well as a beginner, not only a beginner, an intermediate, and the likes. So these tags are very, very important, which we're gonna be open to in the next lecture video. So it defines what content will appear on a web page. It uses tags, as I've said, tags to tell the browser what to display. You know, tags, which are also called what? HTML elements. HTML elements. We have the opening tag, we have the contents, we have the closing tag. So we're going to understand that perfectly well in the next lecture video. But don't forget, HTML is what? Is not a programming language. It's a markup language, which actually comprises of elements. HTML elements in an HTML document, which is this image you are actually seeing here. We're going to understand this perfectly well in the next lecture video. So I'll see you in the next lecture video. In this lecture video, I'll be teaching you the HTML document. Yes. You can see from this diagram here, which I've created, you can see we have, now let me go to the VS Code here. When you come over here, instead of typing all these things, that is the essence of what we call the IntelliSense. That is the essence of using the VS Code in this era we are right now. So when you just come over here, just press on what? Just press on Shift, you know, the exclamation mark, you get it from Shift. You know, we have numerical functions. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 0 on the keyboard up there after the function keys. So just press on Shift, then press, let me use it again. If you press only 1, it's a problem, nothing is showing. But you press Shift and you press Shift plus 1 there. Not plus, not using the plus sign, but Shift and 1 together. You press on Shift, you hold it, then press on 1. So when you do that, what's the next thing to do? Press Enter. And you see? Very, very perfect. Everything you need is right here. You just start to write the language inside the body. We're gonna learn. Perfect. So everything we have here, okay, everything you're actually seeing here was done automatically. Just using what? Let me control that. Just using what? So again, Shift, then what? The exclamation mark, Shift, hold on Shift, then press 1, which that's where you get exclamation mark, then press Enter. Very perfect. It's done. So now come back to the image. Now, firstly, we have doc type declaration. the reason for this doc type declaration, which would actually come first, wherever right, you can see it's up here. First thing first is that we have different types of HTML. This is HTML5, the latest. We have HTML1, HTML2, HTML 3.2, HTML4, and the like. Still got to the latest one, which is what, HTML5. So for you to for VS Code to recognize what's HTML exactly, because there are some HTML elements you would use here, okay, which would not work because it is not in line with HTML5. So HTML5, the first thing that actually happens first is doc type HTML. That is the, description, the declaration that this is HTML5. Then what do you have next? After that, we have HTML, then we have LAN equals to EN, which is what? Language equals to English. Yeah. Language doc type, which is, you can see the doc type HTML. Doc type declaration, that's for HTML5. Then we have HTML language, which is English. Now, you need to understand something. We can see doc type declaration. That is the first one. Then the next one is what? HTML document. You can see that the line of the HTML document is not covering the doc type declaration, because the doc type declaration is different from the HTML document. Please, we have to know that, because the doc type declaration is just telling us, oh, the commands that are going to be written here are HTML5. So it is not part of the HTML document. It is just a declaration. So that is why you can see this box covers HTML documents, but not doc type declaration. So any other thing we have from here downward, even down, going down to the end, they are all HTML documents. Please note that, but the doc type HTML declaration is not part of the HTML documents. Okay. So now in the HTML document, that is where we have the HTML elements. It's very simple. The doc type declaration, which is this, is for us to know, oh, what exactly, and it is HTML5, and it's not part of the HTML document. So any other thing on the, on the text editor are called HTML document. Everything except from the doc type declaration. Then inside the HTML documents, everything inside are called HTML elements. Now we have the head tag. You can see head, the opening tag, the contents, the closing tag. We're going to learn that in the next lecture video. You can see the body, opening tag, the contents inside, then the closing tag. Okay, so now what we're trying to say is that the HTML element comprises of the opening tag, the closing tag, and the contents. Let's come here and say, for example, let's just say, we say all these are about the elements, the documents, okay, the HTML documents, and inside the HTML documents we have the what? Elements. And to have an HTML element, it needs to have what? It needs to have what we call the opening tag, okay, the contents inside, then the closing tag. It must be inside something. It must have the opening, it must have the closing, then it must have a content inside. But in most cases, we have an empty tag, which only has the opening tag, no contents, no closing tag. So I'll see you in the next lecture video. So this is the continuation of the HTML documents. Now, as I've said earlier, just a recap, this is what HTML5, a declaration for us to know we are writing HTML5. Then these are what? The HTML documents. We can actually see them here, HTML documents. Then everything inside the HTML document are called HTML elements. So far it has a tag, a content, and a closing tag. And I've said not every tag in HTML has a content and a closing tag, but every HTML element has an opening tag. Okay, so now we have to understand that we have different type of HTML tags, HTML elements. So firstly, after the declaration, the doc type declaration, as I've said, in the HTML documents, we have what we call the HTML elements. Okay, and always the first element you would ever see is the HTML elements. Now let me delete this and come back. Good. As I've said, we have the HTML document. Then the HTML document comprises of the HTML elements. Okay, and the elements comprises of an opening tag, and a closing tag, and in between the opening tag and the closing tag is what is the contents. Okay, so now the first tag you would always see is what is the HTML tag. Then we have the what? We have the closing HTML tag. So because we've done this automatically, we don't need to start typing and typing. Okay, so now the first thing you need to know is that what the HTML tag is always the first. The HTML tag, and everything we need to write must be inside the HTML tag. Okay, now we have the opening tag, which is the opening HTML tag. Then we have the closing HTML tag. You can see anything you want to write, whatever you want to write, would always be, so sorry. I just click here. You can click around, click anywhere. So I just put my cursor here and click, then enter. Okay, then you can actually come down here to enter anyhow you want it. Okay, but all the same, everything you need to write must be what? Must be inside the HTML tag. That's why we say we have the opening tag and the closing tag. The HTML opening tag, this is it. These are the contents inside. These are all the contents inside. And this is what? This is the closing tag. So 99 points, or let me say 95 or 98% of tags in HTML have opening and closing tags. Then they have the contents in between. Just a few is an empty tag, like like the break tag, the horizontal tag, also the image tag. We're going to get there, and so on. So whatever we write inside here, everything must always be in the HTML tag. So now let me Control Z rather. Now we have, you can see I deleted this before and it's back. Okay, just like saying delete. Then normally this is how it's meant to be. HTML, the opening tag, the contents, the closing tag, HTML. Now let's, for example, let me just come over here and say, so let's use the left angle bracket. Okay, so let's say using the left angle brackets, let's say HTML, HTML, then you close the left angle, you close it by using the right angle bracket. What happens? The IntelliSense, it completes the code for you. Now, seeing this is what? Opening tag. Okay, then the closing tag. The closing tag would always have a slash to show that this is a closing tag. I deleted it, then put the slash back. So now, for example, let me come down again and just, let me say body. Let me just, for example, let me say body. Then close it. Then what happens? The IntelliSense actually helps us to complete the code. We created the opening tag, then it creates the closing tag for us. Then you can put something like my name, just as an example. Or you can just press on enter. When you press on enter, say my name. Very, very perfect. There is something you need to understand. Let me Control Z and let's see what happens. When I press on enter, what happens? It's indented the cursor. Instead of it starting from here, you can see what happens. It actually gave it a tab itself, then started from here. So it understands perfectly well what is happening. The IntelliSense, the extension we use, the HTML CSS extension we use, actually understand perfectly well what we need. Because whenever you're writing a code, okay, in an HTML element, it helps you to arrange perfectly well its indents, things like that. So what I just want us to understand before we move to understanding headings, paragraphs, and the other different tags we have, email tag, link tags, is that we need to understand that we have what? We have the opening tag and we have the closing tag. The closing tag would be represented by what? By using the /. So now when we have the opening tag, which is like HTML, its closing tag must firstly have a what? A /. Look at /. Look at the body also. Look at the head rather. Head, normally, the closing tag for the head has a what? /. Okay? Then the body also. The end tag of the body, the closing tag of the body has a what? Has a slash. Okay? So now we need to understand perfectly well that the HTML is the beginning of all the tags in the HTML documents. It's the beginning of all the HTML elements. HTML, everything we are writing must actually be in between what? Must actually be inside the HTML tag. The opening, then what? The closing HTML tag. Then we have the head tag. Look at this. We have the This is the opening head tag, the closing head tag, and the content inside. Yes, the head tag, it's very important to understand this. So the head tag in HTML, you can't see it in the web page. What happens? This is it. Now, let's take, for example, in the body, I'm writing, let's say paragraph P. A paragraph. I'm coming. My website. Just as an example. Let me just give it space. It's not compulsory to give it space. Okay. Just leave it like this. My website. Okay. Then how do you run a website? What do? You actually, it's very, very important we understand this. You actually come over here. So you can minimize this. Just like, just like click code and just drag it to the left like this. Aha. So it actually understands that you can bring it down. Depends. You can close this. Good. Very, very perfect. So now what do? We come over here. Okay, let me increase it. Let's see. So we're going to right click on this. Open with what? Live server. If you have not installed the live server before, please go and install the live server. It's very, very important. So now click. When you click, what happens? It opens the HTML on the web browser. You can see what happened here. Now let's go back here. The first thing I did was that I wrote something here in the body. We have to understand that the body tag is the only thing, anything you write in the body tag is the only thing that shows where in the web page here. I wrote my website. You can see using the paragraph tag. I'm going to teach you the paragraph tag, the heading tag, and the other tags, okay? Just as an introduction now. You can see we're not saying meta or all these things. All these things are not showing. You can't find them. What happened? Now we need to understand that the HTML, this is the beginning, this is the end of the HTML document, but the head tag itself does not show in the web page. Now, let's take, for example, whatever you write in the head tag does not show in the web page. The only thing that shows in the web page is whatever you're writing what's in the body tag. Please take note of this. The HTML tag, which is this, it comprises of every other tags, okay? And it's very essential you put the HTML tag. It's just very essential. So now after that we have the head tag. Now the head tag does not show in the web page. I'm coming back to that. Then it is only the body tag, whatever you have in the body tag that shows. Just as an example, something like this, my website. Okay. So now looking at the head tag, so what happens to it? Now when you're talking about meta, this also, these are different things entirely. Talking about viewports, talking about SEO, search engine optimization, talking about adjusting the website to the device width and the likes. Okay. These ones are not showing in the web page. This one exactly, which is title, would show in the web tab of the web browser. You know, Chrome is a web browser. We have the web page. Let's say, for example, let me minimize this. Good. Let me come over here and mark it down. Perfect. So you can see like side by side. So when let me say my website is new. So just press Ctrl S and it changes here automatically, because the reason is that you are using you're using the live server. That was why when you say right click, open with what? Live server. That is the essence of live server. When you just Ctrl S, you save, automatically it changes here. So now we have documents as a title, and I said this is it. How sure are we? Let's change. Let me say this is a website. Perfect. Nothing happens. But you press what? Ctrl S. And you see, this is a website. Very, very perfect. So we need to understand something, that HTML opening and closing tag, that is the main thing actually that houses everything. Then we have the head tag inside the HTML tag also, but the head tag does not show in the web page. Okay, majorly these meta tags, okay, are used for SEO, the width and the likes. Okay, they have their function, SEO, search engine optimization. They have their function. Just leave it like that. You don't need to delete them. But when you're talking about the title, which is still under the head tag, which will not show here in the web page, but show where? It will show in the web tab. Okay, because this is a web browser. the browser tab, sorry. This is the web browser. Okay. We have the browser tab here. We have the web page here. So whatever you will do in the body tag, which is something like this, you keep on writing. Let me just copy. Let me copy, then come down, then paste, come down, paste, come down, paste, then Ctrl Z. You see, it keeps on writing because it is in the what? In the body tag. Anything that is in the body tag will surely show in the web page, but anything in the head tag would not show in the web. Also, the title tag shows where? In the browser tab. Very, very simple. It is very, very simple. Okay, so again, we have the HTML tag, houses everything. We have the head tag, okay, whereby the meta doesn't show here, only the title shows in the browser tab. Then the most important, which is what? The body, where we are going to be working the most, the body tag, whereby which shows in the what's in the web page. So we have to understand again that when you are linking, you're linking the CSS with the HTML, linking the JavaScript with the HTML. Whatever you want to link will also be in what's in the head tag, because it's not going to show, but you're going to link it, and HTML is going to understand what you're linking. So an example of an empty tag is meta. This meta you can actually, this meta you can actually see it has an opening tag, but no closing tag. That is, you can't see something like, slash, then, meta, then close tag, something like that. No, it's not there. It's not there. You don't. It's not there. So it's not there at all. It's not there. So meta is also what? Is also an empty tag. Let me give you an example of an empty tag. So let's say this is an empty tag, HR, which is horizontal. You can see. Then Ctrl S, which is to save. You can see the horizontal line actually comes, and it's only an open tag. You can't see the closing tag, because even HTML, even VS Code will not give you anything like closing tag. You don't give anything like closing tag. It won't. Nothing. It's because it's nothing like that happens. It's nothing like that exists. So this is an empty tag. So in the next section, we're going to start perfectly with the tags, the heading, the paragraph tag, the image, the links, the list, tables, forms, media, and so on. So I'll see you in the next